Finding a decent, affordable place to call home, it's a struggle that pretty much everyone on the planet understands. But the solutions? Well, they are anything but universal. Today we're going to look at two totally different ways of thinking about the housing crisis. One is from the top down, a massive, policy-driven effort across an entire continent, and the other is from the ground up, a truly radical blueprint to reinvent the very idea of what a home can be.
So get this one question, asked by a man literally standing in the ashes of his own home, is the spark for one of the most ambitious community projects in development today. But before we get into his incredible answer, we really need to understand the sheer scale of the problem he's taking on.
All right, so let's zoom out a bit first. Let's take the European Union, for example. We're talking about a massive economic bloc, and they are facing a huge systemic housing challenge that affects tens of millions of people. So how big is this problem really?
Just think about that number for a second. 1 in every 10 households across the EU is dealing with what the experts call housing cost overburden. And look, this isn't just some number on a chart. It's a daily reality that forces impossible choices between paying the rent, buying food, or getting healthcare for millions and millions of families.
And believe me, this problem is a real tangled mess. It's not just about the cost. I mean, you've got the fact that a staggering 75% of buildings across the EU are basically energy sieves, which shoves families into what's called energy poverty. Homelessness is on the rise, and the explosion in short-term holiday rentals is squeezing the market for people who actually live there. It's this giant complex knot where social, economic, and environmental problems are all tangled up together.
So the big question is, how does a huge institution like the EU even start to untangle a knot that big? Well, their answer is to go for a steady, really methodical, top-down approach. It's all built on policy, on continent-wide laws. The EU is absolutely playing the long game here. You can see they started by laying the groundwork, establishing housing as a fundamental right all the way back in 2017. From there, they launched major initiatives for things like energy efficiency and homelessness. Each of these dates, it's like another piece of a giant legislative puzzle falling into place, all building towards a big, comprehensive, affordable housing plan. This is what change driven by regulation looks like.
And let me tell you, the goals they've set are incredibly ambitious. A completely green building stock by 2050 and ending homelessness by 2030. This is the top-down model in a nutshell. Set these huge, long-range targets, and then use all the power of law, funding, and coordination you have to try and hit them. Okay, so that's the top-down approach. Now let's completely shift gears and look at something else, something totally different. We're moving from the idea of just fixing the system to something way more radical, completely reinventing the idea of what a home even is.
Right, so this is the real turning point in our story. You see, the EU's approach is all about fixing concrete problems, cost, energy efficiency, things like that. But this other perspective, it asks a much deeper question. What if the problem isn't just the quality of our housing, but the entire philosophy behind how we live? What if policy is only treating the symptoms? So instead of just patching up problems, this approach starts with a positive vision. The goal isn't just about shelter, it's about creating sanctuaries. That one word changes everything. It suggests peace, resilience, connection, qualities that, let's be honest, you can't just write into law. Okay, and this is where things get really, really interesting. Because the foundation for this whole new model, it isn't a bunch of regulations. It's a search for shared wisdom. It's about looking at the world's sacred traditions and finding a kind of universal human operating system that can guide how a community lives and thrives together.
And all of this brings us to a tiny 1-acre plot of land in Delaware at a place called One Lake Drive. This is where that huge philosophical idea gets real. It becomes a concrete blueprint. We're talking architecture, ecology, the whole shebang. It's a hyper-local answer to the very same global problems the EU is trying to solve.
So, what in the world is a sanctuary suburb? Well, it's definitely not just another nice housing development. It's a whole integrated system. It's designed to heal the land, build real community, and even offer spiritual nourishment. And this isn't just some fringe idea. It's gained real political traction. It was even endorsed in the 2025 Delaware Democratic Party platform. And when you compare it to what we're used to, the contrast is, well, it's stark. The thinking here is that traditional suburbs, with all the sprawl and isolation, have actually helped create what people are calling a loneliness epidemic. The sanctuary suburb, on the other hand, is designed from the ground up to be the cure, engineering connection and shared purpose to turn mere shelter into a real place of belonging. Okay, but how do you actually build that kind of shared culture? Well, this project lays out a framework of 7 universal skills, and they're drawn from the practical wisdom found across multiple sacred traditions. And just to be clear, this isn't about pushing one single religion. It's about creating a shared curriculum for how to live a resilient life. Everything from breathwork and gardening to logic that becomes the common language for the entire community.
And here's what it actually looks like. This is the vision made real. It's what they call a vertical village. It can house hundreds of people in about 300 modular units. But here's the kicker. It leaves 75% of the land for nature. Food forests, clean energy, you name it. It also uses something called sponge city principles. Basically, the land is designed to soak up rainwater naturally, which helps prevent flooding. And the whole thing is guided by a sacred AI platform to make sure the community is using every drop of water and every watt of energy as efficiently as possible.
And look, don't get the wrong idea. This isn't just some utopian pipe dream. This is a full-on business plan. It's designed to be a scalable, franchise-ready model. You can see the clear financial targets here, from the seed round to Series A and beyond. The whole idea is to prove the model works and then replicate it all over the world. So, okay, we've just looked at 2 profoundly different ways to create change. On one side, you have this massive, continent-wide regulatory machine. And on the other, you have this single, replicable arc that's designed to be a blueprint for a whole new way of living. Let's put them side by side.
When you put them side by side like this, the differences really couldn't be clearer. The EU's approach is huge. It's macro. It's top-down, driven by laws and directives, and its goal is basically to fix the system we already have. The sanctuary blueprint is pretty much the exact opposite. It's micro, hyperlocal. It's bottom-up, driven by philosophy and design, and its goal isn't to fix the system, it's to create a whole new one.
This quote really captures the whole spirit of that bottom-up visionary approach. It's not about finding a quick fix or getting a short-term win. It's about planting seeds to create a lasting regenerative legacy for the people who come after us, even if the people who started it all never get to see the final result. So, at the end of the day, this is the question we're left with. Do we solve our biggest problems with huge, slow, incremental policy changes that try to fix the system we've got? Or do we need these bold, hyper-local experiments that just reimagine everything from the ground up, giving us a radical new blueprint for what the future could be? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Perhaps the real answer lies somewhere in between.